Hi, good evening, and welcome again to my classroom. This is part 3 of what's probably going to be at least another part discussion on Mercury, on the planet Mercury, and Mercury when it's in retrograde, and also speaking of the full moon. But for now, I would like to focus on Mercury so that you could all become more familiar with the closest planet to the sun. And to start, I wanted to show you a photo of Mercury and basically what it looks like. How it's a very rocky terrestrial planet. It's a terrestrial planet much like Earth, Venus, and Mars. As you can see, it has a cratered surface, cratered because it's been bombarded by asteroids hitting it. And it's very similar in looks to our moon. See, our moon has a cratered surface as well. And as I discussed in the first, in yesterday's conversation in my second video, I said how, in fact, the moon and Mercury have so much in common, and the very first thing to mention is how much they look alike, that they have a cratered surface and that they don't have an atmosphere. They're lacking in an atmosphere. It's composed, that is Mercury, of silicate, minerals, and metals. It has a huge iron core. 60% of its mass is its iron core. It has a silicate mantle and crust, but again, it's mostly comprised of iron. It's a dense metal planet. I took some notes, so bear with me. The surface of Mercury is very rich in sulfur. There is feldspar, but not as much as what is found on the moon. Now, I had mentioned I showed you on my board yesterday, and you could go back when you have time after this or any other time. First, I would like to thank you for watching, and also I would like to ask if you could please subscribe to my channel, and then you could watch. You'll know when I have the next video up. I had a list of types of rocks and minerals that are not only found on Mercury and on the moon, but also that are very helpful in utilizing them during Mercury in retrograde. Like, they might not actually be found there, so I wanted to clarify that. I don't want you to think that the whole list of stones that I mentioned are actually comprised on Mercury. They're actually there and they're found there. But according to research that was done by NASA, they do know that there are rocks and minerals that are actually found on Mercury. Lava rocks, olivine, magnetite. I showed you olivine the other day, but I'll show you again. See, this is olivine. This is an example of olivine. And in its purer form, once it's in gem quality, it is what you probably know as peridot, it's a light green stone. And I have a little magnet, so I'm going to show you how it's magnetic. This is olivine. Now, this didn't come from Mercury. This is actually also found on Earth. So this came from our Earth. Obsidian is also found on Mercury. This is an example of obsidian. It's a very dark stone. It's a black stone, very shiny. This is called obsidian, otherwise known as Apache tears. You probably have heard of Apache tears. And black obsidian, the scrying bowl that you could actually, I don't know if you're into that, but that's another form of divination, is scrying either on an obsidian plate or a bowl. This is an example of some lava rocks. I actually bought these when I was in Iceland. Iceland is just a wonderful country, and geologically it's just stunning. And this is an example of lava rocks that have, you know, also lava rocks are very good if you wanted to infuse them with essential oils. Just be careful, because pure essential oils in their pure form are very strong. I would, if you were going to do that, to also, you know, get the essence of the essential oil, I would mix it with a base oil. And labradorite, which is a feldspar. So this is labradorite. As you could see, it's very shimmery. There's a iridescence to it, like a chatoyance. I don't know if you could see that. This is labradorite. This is a labradorite wand, and it's been created into this form. And this is a labradorite bracelet. As you look how pretty that is, you could actually see the blue flash. It's similar to moonstone, but this is actually labradorite. So this is labradorite, is otherwise known as a feldspar. It's part of the feldspar group of rocks and minerals. This is found on Mercury. And also hematite. So I'm going to show you hematite. I'm going to wear mine because I love this labradorite bracelet. Here's hematite. It's like a silvery, dark, like gunmetal grayish, and it's shiny. This is hematite. It's a grounding stone. I'll get into the chakras. I would love to do a chakra presentation for you all, and in another workshop video. We'll stick to, for now, I want to familiarize you with Mercury so that you feel more comfortable and have the tools that you need during Mercury in retrograde. And also, we are in now a waning moon, but I am going to talk about also what I did in the 2 previous videos, how there is a positive synergy between the full moon and Mercury in retrograde, that once you understand this better and you have the tools, that you will be able to get through Mercury in retrograde, and it's not as bad as what you think. So this is hematite. Now again, I wanted to mention, as I did in the previous videos, just in the event you haven't watched my previous videos, I'm also a vendor of many types of rocks and tumbled stones and crystals. So if you are so inclined and you're interested in purchasing crystals from me, then just feel free to contact me. You could also contact me through Instagram, and you could find me by typing in, for the user search, Ange, A-N-G, the number 9, NYC. Ange, A-N-G, the number 9, NYC. NYC stands for New York City, because I'm a New York City girl, as I mentioned a few times already in previous videos. I was born and raised in New York City. I live in the suburbs now, but I'm very close by, and I love going to Manhattan, and that's why I put Ange 9 NYC. So there you go. And okay, so I showed you olivine. I'll show you one more time. It's just a wonderful crystal. And look at that, it's magnetic. This is the rougher part, and this would be, you know, if you softened it like in a tumbler. So basically, it's a basalt. That's what I wanted to explain to you. What type of stone is olivine? It's a peridot in its gem form, and it's a basalt, a basaltic rock formation that is found both on Mercury and the moon. But right now we're talking about Mercury. I got to show you this photo again. Isn't that amazing? So it looks very similar to the surface of our moon. I mean, it's not exactly similar, but as you can see, there are there are cratered surfaces there. And also they don't have an atmosphere, and neither does the moon. And there's the moon, just to show you the cratered surfaces. So we're going to go also into a little bit more information about Mercury. So as you know, it's composed of silicate materials. I mentioned the basaltic rock, but I didn't yet mention the silicates. I mentioned that in my previous video. So silicates are part of the quartz family. Now you all know quartz. Let me show you. I have it right here somewhere. Where is my quartz? Where's my quartz crystal? Well, here we go. We have one right here. This is rose quartz, but I also have, and it's probably, there it is, hiding under paper. And this is clear quartz. This is a clear quartz specimen. As you can see, the points, and look how gorgeous that is. I also sell the same types of crystals if you're interested. I have many different ones. I could always send you photos if, you know, if you're not sure what they look like. So you could just contact me. I didn't mention TikTok. You could also contact me by finding me on TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And that's another app, a social media app. I don't know if you're on it, but if you are, I am Big Ange. No, I'm Big Apple Ange. Let me just double check this. I have it right here. So you can find me on TikTok, Big Apple Ange, TikTok, that's TikTok, Big Apple Ange, BIG, Apple, Ange, ANG. Okay, that's how you could contact me. Instagram, you could also contact me through YouTube. If you need to talk to me, you have many ways to contact me. You see that? You got YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Instagram, and my Instagram is not the same as TikTok. You have to find me by ANG, the number 9, NYC. That's my Instagram. So, okay, so here we have silicates, the quartz family. Amethyst is also in the quartz family. I'm going to put that down. So we have amethyst, which I have, actually, I have an amethyst tree to show you. You know amethyst. It's the purple crystal. Look how pretty that is. So I have amethyst in tumbled form. Okay. I'm sorry. Listen, it is the way it is. I am moving around, but I have a lot of stuff around me, and at least I don't have to go out of the room. So this is a quartz point. This is great for manifestation. So this is a quartz point. You put your intent into the quartz. This is an amethyst, tumbled stone, just so you have an idea. So far I showed you a number of different crystals. There's also smoky quartz, rose quartz, citrine. There's citrine. I have citrine right here. Hold on. I have citrine. I have citrine in a number of different forms. I have, that's not citrine. That's carnelian. Oh, look how pretty the sky is in the background. Okay, so this is a citrine point. I also sell these. And these are my tumbled stone citrines. They're gem quality. Look at that color. They're beautiful. So the only reason why I'm mentioning that I sell these things is because, first of all, I am a vendor of crystals, jewelry, metaphysical products, altar supplies, whatever you may need in your metaphysical world. I love what I do, and I like to share information, and also I have very nice quality things, so you know, if you're interested, you just contact me. So that's the citrine point. Now, So now we know that Mercury, on Mercury, I'm not saying that you'll find if you dig into a cave in Mercury, if you could get there in 800-degree temperatures in the daytime, you will find this. What I'm saying is that there have been studies by NASA, because of course they've had for over, I guess, 40 years, they've been sending unmanned craft to go in that area, although it's very challenging because it's so close to the sun. But they've discovered that it's made primarily of basaltic rock and silicates. And these are the type of minerals that are comprised of silicates and basaltic rock. So since I have them, I thought I'd be able to show you, although I can't promise you that if you go to Mercury, you're actually going to find a citrine point. But what I can say is that our professionals in astrophysics have said that, yeah, and the astronomers said, yeah, this is what Mercury is made of. So there you go. Metaphysically, Mercury is also the master of communication. So during Mercury in retrograde, I'm sure some of you might have heard of the possibilities of satellites going awry, maybe your computers go haywire. Again, I wouldn't worry so much about the negativity that's behind Mercury in retrograde, because as I mentioned in my previous video, if you think negative, negativity will attach to you. So I'm trying to help you to understand ways that you could get around that. Since it is the master of communication, how about we empower ourselves and harness the energy behind being a master of communication? Well, part of the chakra system, I'll just go into it briefly, only that one particular chakra, is the throat chakra. The throat chakra, when it is aligned and fully balanced, you have the ability to communicate properly. So, if you add in throat chakra crystals to your manifestations to be in control during Mercury in retrograde, and to harness personal empowerment and not become a victim of the negativity that is in the collective consciousness. Let's face it, collectively, people, as soon as they hear about Mercury in retrograde, they think, oh, all these bad things. Okay, this is the time to understand that there are ways that you can control that. Use any color blue stones, aquamarine, it could be turquoise. Here's an aquamarine. This is in raw form. This is aquamarine in a tumbled stone. Aquamarine in a tumbled stone. This is the beryl form of aquamarine that comes out of caves. See, it's in its raw form. I would use blue calcite, any color blue. It could be light blue, it could be medium to light blue. I would definitely go with turquoise as well. Even though turquoise is a bluish green, it's fine. Doesn't have to exactly be blue. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the family, turquoise is a wonderful throat chakra stone. If you don't have access to that, there's aquamarine. If you don't have access to that, you could go with blue calcite. You could go with many other throat chakra stones. You could just Google throat chakra crystals, and you will find much more information in the future when I'm focusing primarily on teaching about the chakra and the crystals that correspond to that. I'll go into a whole list. But there's also Larimar. Larimar comes from the Dominican Republic. That's a beautiful crystal. Any of the chalcedonies, blue chalcedony, gorgeous crystals. But we'll move on because I don't want to spend too much time on that, and I'm almost at 20 minutes. I don't want to bore you. So, we have Mercurian facts. A year on Mercury is only 88 Earth days. We have 365, and then obviously we have leap year. But a year on Mercury is only 88 Earth days. So, I took that number as being symbolic to the lemniscate. I don't know if you know of a lemniscate. It's not easy to spell. I'll spell it for you. L-E-M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, I-S-C-A-T-E. Now, a lemniscate in symbology, metaphysical symbology, is a number 8. You just take a number 8, put it on its side. That's not a very good 8. How about I just make an 8 this way? See? Use your head. It's a lemniscate. Okay. It's a powerful symbol. It means adorned with ribbons. That's what it actually means. It is an infinity sign, also known as an infinity sign. I'm sure you all know that. It signifies a sense of balance, of a yin-yang balance. Perfect time, even though now we're in a waning stage of the full moon. But when we're waxing and getting close to full moon for a full moon manifestation, when you have also at the same time, like we just did at the beginning of the week, Mercury in retrograde, think about yin-yang balance. You could also use crystals that balance yin-yang energies. 88, even though the 8 is a lemniscate, we're dealing with the double one because there are 88 Earth days to Mercury. So that's a very powerful number. Now you have a double number. Signifies 2 eternal commitments aligning and merging. So think about it. This is actually a good time. As crazy as this may seem to you, this is actually a good time to find a new mate, to work things out with the mate that you have, to find new friends, commitment and togetherness, partnership. This would be a great time to find perhaps a working partner. You might be looking for a new employee, somebody that you're going to work with. Do you see all these positive things so far? Have you thought about these things in the past? How numbers and symbols that are connected to the thing that the collective consciousness is all afraid of. Mercury in retrograde. Oh no, I'm going to go hide. Well, guess what? You don't have to hide. Don't hide in that broom closet, because the number 88 that's connected to the amount of Earth days that it takes for a year on Mercury, it's a power symbol. It's very powerful. It's very unique to think that way. You have to think outside of the box. You have to say, wow, the infinity sign, the lemniscate, is powerful. In tarot, you could find the lemniscate in the Magician. You could find the lemniscate in the 2 of Pentacles, 2 of Coins. You could find a lemniscate in the Chariot. You could find a lemniscate in the World. Well, actually, you won't find the lemniscate, but you will find the numerology behind 88. 88, if you add them up, is 16, right? 8 plus 8 is 16. Well, numerology, you have to bring it down, narrow it down to 1 digit, unless it's a power number. So 16 comes out to a 7. So in tarot, the Chariot is the number 7. So you could meditate on the Chariot card, on the Magician card. Strength has a lemniscate, the Strength card. And the World has a double lemniscate on the top in the form of a red ribbon around its wreath, garland, and on the bottom, so the North and South poles. And do you remember when I mentioned that both the Moon and Mercury have ice caps on their poles. I didn't even realize Mercury had ice caps on the North and South poles. So let's consider that a correlation and a correspondence to the World Tarot. I'm going to show you the World Tarot card. This is the Rider-Waite. This is the giant Rider-Waite deck. I use this because it's easier to show you. I'm going to show you all the cards that I just covered with you on the Tarot correspondence. Okay. So now this is minor arcana. Okay, that's the minor. This is 2 of Pentacles. Do you see the lemniscate? That's the infinity sign. Where does the infinity sign come into play? The number of days that it takes to have an entire year on Mercury. 88 days. The 8 is, in fact, a lemniscate just turned on its side, right? A horizontal lemniscate. Okay. We have the Magician. Do you see the lemniscate in the Magician? There it is. He is the man that manifests everything. He's a master manifester. There you go. The number 1. He has the lemniscate. He's holding the wand. And it's as above, so below, right? We'll talk about that in more detail another time. We have a lemniscate in the Strength card. Do you see that? It might look backwards because I turned, I had to turn the camera toward me. So if I put it the opposite way, I won't know if you could see me. So sorry about that. The Chariot. The Chariot is the number 7. It's the 7th card of the major arcana. Strength is also major arcana, and so is the Magician. You could say arcana, I say arcana, potatoes, potatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. The World is also major arcana, major arcana, the World. Do you see how the lemniscate is on the top and on the back? You have to look closely. See, most people would overlook that. But it is actually tied like a lemniscate. You see that? Okay, there you go. So that's the correspondence I mentioned about crystals. You have a crystal correspondence. I brought in numerology with 88. Breaking down to 1 digit is the number 7. 8 and 8 is 16. That comes out to a 7. Okay? And we have the lemniscate symbology in the tarot, as seen in the Magician, Strength, the World, and the 2 of Pentacles. I think we're going to have to move toward saying good night and thank you very much, because I'm already at I'm past 28 minutes and I don't want to bore you. So I'll come back and we'll talk more about crystals for the full moon manifestation. Also for the waning moon. I mean, you could use the full moon crystals for, it doesn't have to be a full moon or waxing. It could be a dark moon. You could have a new moon. For each stage has its own symbology and its own purpose for ridding yourself of things that really don't, they don't serve you anymore. And also you might have some bad habits that you want to get rid of, and the new moon is perfect for that. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. I wanted to talk more about the symbology of numerology of the number 7, but I think I'll save that for another video. But let me just say it quickly. The archetype, the number 7, is the number of the archetype known as the seeker, the thinker, and the searcher of truth. So think about that. The seeker, the thinker, and the searcher of truth. Many times reality can be hidden behind illusions, and the seeker tries to unveil the truth behind the illusions. And this concept resonates with the Chariot, the 7th card, and the Hermit in Tarot. Think about the Hermit in Tarot. I'm not going to show it to you now, but he's always seeking for the truth, right? He's constantly seeking for intelligence and to find the truth in things. So that's the number 7 is a very powerful number. And also, as Mercury is metaphysically the master of communication, we need behind that the seeker of truth, right? We want to speak our truth. In order to speak your truth, you could utilize the crystals that I mentioned in meditating on them, the crystals that are utilized for the throat chakra. So have a great night, and don't forget to subscribe, okay? Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.